Welcome to my channel. My name is Sherry Bradford. My channel is Mary Sherry's Creations, and most of the time what I share on this channel is information on various arts and crafts, my experience with craft shows, my experience in the crafting community, the painting community, and I am veering from that a bit today. So if you're new to my channel, this is not what you'll see each time, but I thought this might be helpful to some people, especially if you're concerned about various kinds of stress or creative blockage when it comes to doing your work, or if you're just curious about hypnosis and how it might help. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about what hypnosis is and what it is not. There's a lot of misconceptions out there, and there's certainly a lot of people that are willing to promote those misperceptions for their own interests. This is not magic. It is not some sort of spiritual experience. It is basically a human function that we all have, that we all do on our own a lot. And this is hypnosis came to be seen as something that you could be more intentional about, and that the hypnosis state was a way of bypassing some of our roadblocks in thinking about different things and help us to think about things in a different way. There is like I say, a lot of misconceptions, and I'm going to go through that before the end of the video. First, if you take a moment to subscribe, I would really appreciate that. If by the end of the video you've enjoyed it, I hope you will also like and share. I wanted to just thank all of those who have taken the time to subscribe, who continue to come back to my channel to watch, and I hope that you'll find this interesting and helpful. So first, how I got involved in hypnosis. I had a very dear friend who came into a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, breast cancer. And it wasn't discovered until then. She, like many people, had mammograms and nothing had shown up. And then one day there it was, and it was already metastasized. And one of the things that her particular medical group offered were different kinds of seminars that they felt would be helpful to people who were in stage 4 cancer, who have a lot of stress and a lot of very unique things happening in their life as they deal with aggressive cancer. And one of the things that her health group recommended was a little class about hypnosis and how it can sometimes be helpful to people dealing with those stresses and issues. And she asked me if I would go along. She didn't want to go by herself. Again, she and I both were thinking, oh, well, this is just going to be a group of screwballs, and that it's just going to be not useful at all. It's going to be all mystical and weird. And so we went, and the topic of the seminar was the use of hypnosis in cancer patients' well-being. And it was really interesting. She found it very interesting, and it explored a lot of touch points for those dealing with cancer and where hypnosis might meet them in that journey and be useful. So afterwards, I decided I wanted to know more and possibly be of help to my friend and others that were going through this kind of situation in their life. And so I looked around, and in the Dallas area there were several different opportunities to learn hypnosis, and I chose a training program that had quite a number of hours and had an accreditation, and I'll talk more about that. And so and it also had a practice element. So I went to the class, and I found it very interesting, well done, well taught. It was not a medical hypnosis training program. I'll talk about that a bit later, but that is a very different animal, and like I say, I'll talk about that later. This was more about how to help people with habits, and it was not focused on people needing mental health. Sorry about that, that's my phone. Needing mental health treatment. So that's that medical component once again. So my focus, after I finished my training and my accreditation, was in helping people to deal with things like smoking cessation, weight management, habit change, stress relief. And I found it fascinating to go through the training, and ultimately I was able to help my friend, and as well as several other people, deal with certain issues that came about as part of their medical condition. For several years, I was very selective in the people that I helped, making sure that they were not in need actually of medical care or even medical hypnosis, as opposed to the kind of hypnosis that I practiced. And some of them were dealing with really horrible situations in their life, and that were not life-threatening, but were just incredibly stressful. There were some people who wanted to quit smoking, and that was helpful to them to be able to go through hypnosis and reinforce what it was they really wanted to do anyway, which is what hypnosis is good at. And there were others that were unable to think of ways to deal with a stressful situation because they were feeling so overwhelmed by it. And helping them deal with the stress in their life was helpful to them in then making room for coming to good decisions about the other issues that were facing them. So it was really interesting, and I really enjoyed the opportunity to help people. But I was recently thinking about that time and the intersection of hypnosis with my own creative journey, and I thought it might be helpful to share some of my experience and thoughts on this channel. So I don't expect to devote any other video to this particular topic, but I do hope you'll find it interesting and that it will be useful to you. Whether we're artists, writers, musicians, entrepreneurs, creativity plays a key role in shaping our interests, our success, and our fulfillment. But what happens when we feel stuck and uninspired or blocked? Can hypnosis help? And if so, how does that work? Well, first let's clarify what hypnosis is not. Hypnosis is not mind control. It is not magic. It's a natural state of focused attention and heightened suggestibility. Many people, when thinking of hypnosis, think of stage show antics where a hypnotist seems to make people suddenly quack like ducks and perform silly antics. And it, and it's especially wonderful when it seems to be, someone who's naturally very sedate. And that is not hypnosis. Hypnosis, because it taps into something that we normally do all the time, can help you overcome self-limiting beliefs. It will not change your belief structure. I'm a person of faith. Hypnosis does not in any way impact my belief system. It simply is a way of reducing certain kinds of stress and helping then to think creatively and to just be more peaceful in my approach about certain things. So what about those that quack like a duck? And showbiz is showbiz. And the same is true of stage hypnotists. And what stage hypnotists are really very good at is being a good judge of people. They know how to choose participants very carefully who are willing, by their very nature and personality type, they're very willing to be silly if there's no impact on the way people perceive them personally. They may not be willing to be silly or do outrageous things if they're just confronted with someone or a situation. But if you remove the layer of someone judging them, and they have permission to be silly, and that's what the stage hypnotist offers them, then they're willing to participate. And it surprises even them, and they quite often will be able to keep up the veneer that they were out of control the whole time. And that, it works great for stage hypnosis. It's funny and entertaining, and it gives them a release as well. But what we're talking about is a type of hypnosis that occurs in a safe and expectant environment. This type of hypnosis can, over time and repetition, enhance your ability to learn to silence your inner critic. That is that little voice, which we all know, which says, you can't possibly do this. What are you thinking? Who do you think you are? You are never going to be original. You are never going to be able to finish this project. Look at all the things that haven't finished, and blah, blah, blah. You get it. You know those voices. Everybody's been through this who's a creative. The practice of learning to quiet and reframe your thoughts is a relief, for one thing, but our imagination also, as part of that relief, can become less restricted. We can start to nurture actively our creative mind and be more open to exploration and curiosity and trusting our creative instincts. And all of those things will enhance over time your creativity and your joy of creativity. Creativity thrives when we are focused and relaxed. That opens us up to new ideas. You know what this is like. This is where you're sitting down at something and you get so involved in it, painting, drawing, any number of creative pursuits. You just get so involved that you look up and suddenly a couple of hours have gone by and you're just shocked that the time flew by. That is actually a form of self-hypnosis. That focus while relaxed is what lets you sort of tap into your deepest, quietest thoughts. It's a bit like a dream state. When you go into a dream and you are relaxed and you suddenly can imagine all kinds of things just flow through your mind, and that's very much what hypnosis is doing. While you go through hypnosis, you're not thinking about deadlines and distractions, and I'm talking about when you're focused yourself. When you're in your creative mode, you don't think about deadlines or distractions when it's flowing. Your self-doubt goes away, and that creative flow is just a lovely experience. Now, it can still be frustrating, and you can be struggling really hard to learn something, but it's still keeping your mind focused on the thing at hand and what it is you're wanting to achieve. So we all have things that go on in our personal lives. We have chaos and illness and money issues and children and elderly parents and our church and our school, and life gets complicated, and we have to grab our creative moments where we can sometimes. And sometimes they're spread out over a much longer distance than we would like them to be. And hypnosis can help you move into that flow state faster. You have to practice it just like you have to practice any skill set. But if you do practice it, you get better at it and quicker at it over time. Hypnosis helps us to relax. As we relax, as we just sit down intentionally and relax in a chair, as we move into a quieter, more focused state, we relax even more. And the more we relax, the more that helps calm us from all those intrusive thoughts of what you have to do next, what's up next, what's up next. And that helps you to just let go of those temporarily, and only to a level that you're comfortable with yourself. You're not going to be in some kind of trance you can't get out of. That doesn't exist. The Manchurian Candidate, if you watch it, it's about hypnosis and the use of drugs, which military has used and has found that they can do things with that are both useful and harmful. That isn't what we're talking about here. I just want to keep stressing that because there's so much really just stupid ideas out there about what it is. So the second thing is in that relaxed state, because you're going to be giving yourself thoughts, and for example, using guided imagery, talking about, relaxing and floating down the river, if that's your thing, on a boat, there's just different things. That narrows your focus. As that focuses your attention on that picture, hypnosis, again, lets us begin to tune out those distractions and hone in on the goal set that you're going to set. And then you provide positive and personal suggestions to yourself. And during that time period where you're relaxed, you're open to new ideas, you're open to not being judgmental of yourself, you can give yourself positive affirmations that can be helpful. I know I was watching the Sunshine Cleaning Company, I think is the name of the movie, and she has these little post-it notes all up on her mirror of, I am great, I am smart, I am articulate. She just has all these little things up. And as funny as that sounds, it actually is a helpful thing to do. And so that's one of those things that after you've gone through your relaxation state, putting your affirmations out there, in writing and reviewing them and talking to yourself about them actually does help reinforce what you decided you wanted to focus on in your hypnosis session. So is it dangerous? And that brings me back to my experience as a hypnotist, and I'm going to share this. And I know that there may be people out there that who practice, and some will agree and some might be offended, and I apologize to those right now who, if it offends them about their particular avenue in hypnosis. But this is my opinion, and think something I think is important for people to know. Most of the practitioners I ran across were very caring people. They really, really, really wanted to help others. And like me, a lot of them came from helping people that were dear to them who were facing terrible issues. And they want to help them be able to find ways to cope and improve their lives. They were very careful, these practitioners, to exclude people from their services who actually needed professional medical treatment, either mentally or physically. People with things like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and other types of disorders should not be working with someone who has had just useful but non-medical training and certification. Those are serious issues that often require that people have intense interaction with counselors, with medications and other things, and there is no way people should be touching that group of people. And most of the people that I knew were very careful about that. But the certification process that is very common out there for hypnosis does not stress that enough, at least in the time period when I was being trained. And even if the materials stressed it, it's very important that you have an instructor that stresses it. Because it's it can be very dangerous for other people who actually need medical care, not just guidance and the softer approach that hypnosis is actually intended for. No one was turned away from the training that I took, and there were a number of people that went along through the training process that they simply were not qualified to be meeting with people alone and with putting people in hypnosis under their watch. They were deeply engaged, some of them in very weird quasi-religious groups. Some of them actively pulled those things into their practice, and they had no business, in my opinion, working with clients. They were not the majority, as I say, and it's very easy to ferret those people out if you're going to a professional hypnosis person. They were certified, though, and some of them went on to have practices for many years. And at one point, a large group of people that I knew and thought very highly of became engaged in a belief system that they thought people who engaged in this could live forever. This turned into a religious thing, not hypnosis. They believed that it was acceptable to guide people to actively forget and rewrite their memories. That is so incredibly dangerous and so concerning that because that was a significant number of people that I was encountering in my professional time of engagement, that I let my certification leave and I closed my practice. Again, I don't want to make this negate what I said earlier, that the majority of practitioners were solid people. They knew their limits, were very careful in their interviews. They did not make promises they could not keep. They did not do unethical practices. They were very helpful and were able to help many people. I mean, I worked alongside people that had hundreds of clients that they had helped with stopping smoking, losing weight, many things. And I looked up to them and still do, and think that they're very worthy. So, but I would say that there is that little group, that little subgroup, and that was happening during the time that the movie The Secret came out, and they really went down a rabbit hole that I think was not healthy. So I just solely recommend that you find a practitioner, if you have anything serious, who is a practitioner of qualified medical hypnosis. If that is not something that you have in your area or can do, then I would just make sure that you really look at these people that you are thinking about going to. In medical practitioner hypnosis, it's very easy to research people's backgrounds, find out how they were trained, if they're medically licensed, and how long they've been doing this, whether or not you can usually get testimonials, that sort of thing. And while they're not going to be perfect either, their training is more likely to be more sound. And I would if you're just going to go to a hypnosis who's just been qualified through certification process, just look into the certification and make sure that, you just make sure. I do believe, though, that self-hypnosis can be extremely helpful and a very positive experience with virtually, I don't know of any downside. of it, since it's something that you do all the time. So this is an area where I can very happily encourage you to try this. And developing a self-hypnosis routine is simple, it's cheap, you're unlikely to injure yourself with false or harmful suggestions, and it's been something that you've been doing anyway, and humans have been doing since humans were created. So most medical practitioners will actually, as part of what they're doing, give you information and some kind of video program or audio program that you can take home with you to help reinforce what you've been going through with them. And that is essentially going to be self-hypnosis. So how does self-hypnosis help you with your creativity? Have you ever had a daydream where your mind just wanders and you're imagining something that seems almost tangibly real in the moment? Some people are much better at this than others. And my husband is extraordinarily good at being able to do this. He can visualize, he really thinks in pictures. I don't, and so it's a little different for me. Sound is more important to me than the pictures are. But if you are like that, if you're daydreaming and you're actually seeing imagery in your mind's eye and you're really concentrated, that's a form of self-hypnosis, of course. What you're imagining isn't present in the physical world. You're just using your brain and your imagination and allowing that to form thoughts and images that seem very real at the time. Children are extraordinary at doing this. They can become so deeply engaged in the use of their imaginations that, they're fighting the dragon. They are. And that we lose that ability, I think, as more and more things come in and begin to cause us to have our mind focused on multiple things at a time. And so creativity itself puts us into that state just on its own when we get very engrossed in activities and time seems to stand still, finding hours have passed, and we've been engaged in a hypnotic state. We can induce these states by taking an active approach to self-hypnosis, and that can, over time, really be a very positive benefit to our creativity. So before I give more detail on that, it must be said, you should not be driving your car without your mind on the road. You don't want to put your brain on, just on the letting it automatically just do stuff. You want to be, if you're operating machinery, you're in a car, you're in command of children who need your full attention, or someone who's elderly, or someone who is ill, don't try to self-induce your hypnotic state during that time. There are lots of good tapes and lots of YouTube videos on safe self-hypnosis, and there's good books on it that will guide you in it. But here is the short process, and it's this simple, and you want to do it often. I'd say the more you do it, the more quickly you'll go into hypnosis, but also the more open you'll be, because you'll begin to see positive outcomes. Now, if you're going to try to hypnotize yourself and say things like, I want to be the world's next Picasso, you're probably not going to be successful. If you want to become an artist, but you don't want to actually put in the time practicing, you're likely not going to become an artist or a singer or any of those things. Self-hypnosis does not in any way replace the need to understand your art and craft, to hone your skill set, and to practice. So self-hypnosis, what it can do is help you with that mindset that you need to relax and concentrate, and to quiet those critical, self-critical things that keep you from sitting down to practice, from putting yourself out there in an art show, or from overcoming a block. Like you can't seem to get out of a rut of doing the same thing over and over and over, and you want to, but somehow you can't see a path forward. And hypnosis can help you with that. So I would say sit down and make a list of 3 affirmations. Don't start with 20 things you want to accomplish. 3 affirmations that you would like to be true about your creative life. Make them positive, make them present tense, such as, I am a very creative person. When I start working on a project, I find myself alert, expectant, and happy. Creativity is easy and natural to me. Take those statements, find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted for 10 minutes or so. You want to close your eyes. You want to take a few deep breaths and let them out very slowly. I would say do a countdown. Take it in and count down and mentally, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give yourself a cue. That's what the countdown does. As you say to yourself, as I count down from 5 to 1, I will relax my body, starting at my toes and working up to the top of my head. Then count down and consciously relax your body. So at 5, my toes are being relaxed and my feet. At 4, my knees and hips are relaxed. I can find myself sitting in my chair, comfortable. 3, my shoulders are going down. I'm really relaxing now. I feel my feet, my knees, my hips, and my shoulders all relaxed. 2, my mind is beginning to relax, and I am beginning to feel the effects of being focused yet relaxed throughout my whole body. And 1, now I can tell myself my affirmations. Once your body's relaxed, it's okay, and it's okay to count from 10 to 1, 6 to 1. Some people like odd numbers. Some people like, just none of that matters. Just pick. Repeat your positive affirmations, and make sure they're specific to you, not just gigantic, world peace kinds of things. You want to make them something that is very specific to you. In your first few sessions with yourself, you're going to be general. But as you go along, you can get more and more specific. So you might start out with, creative ideas come to me effortlessly. You can rephrase it. I enjoy creative ideas. Creative ideas relax me. I embrace originality. When I am painting, drawing, pick one, or even thinking about creativity, new ideas come to me easily. And you can make your voice sound like that. Sound like you're talking to a friend, because you are. Make it as personal to you as what you want to see in your creative journey. So as you go along, you're going to get more specific, because if you're a writer or an artist or some other form of creativity, you're going to say, it's not the tools, it's the process. It's not my training, it's my imagination. These are the things that make me good at what I do. The training is already there. My imagination is there. Now my focus is there. These kinds of things will help you as you say them over and over. I'd say keep to one affirmation at a time or two that are related to one another. And only as you see progress would I move forward with more. If you don't see progress at first, it may be that you're being too specific. So pull back. Or if you have listened to this from somebody else, like a tape or an audio or whatever, and you're using their words, they just may not ring true to you. And your subconscious mind is going to recognize that, and it'll just reject it. It just won't go with the flow, so to speak. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for statements, even if you don't fully believe them yet. If you keep telling yourself, let's say this, how many times does a friend have to tell you that you do really good work, and you still inside yourself can't say that about yourself to yourself? That's a block that you can get rid of, to where you can go, yes, I do good work. No, not everything I do is perfect. Not everything I do is even great. But I do have moments where I do good work. And if I can learn to relax and let my creative flow just take over more quickly and up front without waiting for the creative strike, then I'm going to get better and better, because my practice sessions will be better. My time spent will be more focused on what I'm doing. And that's going to automatically begin to improve what you do. So don't say what you think you should be saying. Tell yourself what you want to see in yourself. Something as simple as, I am a creative person. As I draw, I become happier and my work visibly improves. I am a creative person. Something like that you repeat often enough, your brain wants to help you believe that. And it will. It's the same way when we say, oh, I'm fat and ugly. We've said that, if we have said that to ourselves over and over and over for long enough, that's the way we think about ourselves. This is the same thing. It's just about your art and your creativity. So in closing, I want to say, hypnosis doesn't produce immediate results. It's not like taking an aspirin. And every person's different. And every person's time schedule is different. And their ability to relax and their facility to relax where they are. It can take some people more time than others. It can take just more practice. But honestly, and I've seen this happen for myself, and sadly I don't do it often enough, I just confess, but I am continuing to try to add this into my tool set. Just minutes a day or twice a week will eventually yield results. And how easy is that to incorporate when we have a whole life of creativity ahead of us? How silly it would be not to take advantage of a tool that might help us just by simply spending a few moments relaxed and focused and telling ourselves what our intentions for ourselves are, that might improve that journey. Why would we not? Before we start doing our creative rush, to just tell ourselves what we want to accomplish out of that, who we want to be as an artistic person, the kind of life we want to lead as creative people. What's the harm, and where's the downside of that? All of us can use more self-love and relaxation in our lives. And this is one way to incorporate a tiny bit on a regular basis. And I hope that you will take the time for yourself to at least give this a try. Thank you for joining me on this little side journey. and in the creative life. And again, I hope that you will take the moment to subscribe and like and save and share. I hope that you will take time to leave a few comments if you've tried self-hypnosis. If you have any questions, of course, I'll do my very best to answer them. And I do wish you all the very best in your journey creatively in every which way. And until next time, keep creating.